Okay, Andrew, we are live. Let's see how
Awesome.
many audience we have. Rad and Jeff are the first two in. Okay, I think we are ready to go. Andrew, if you want to kick it off for us.
Sweet, will do. Adam, you can hear me, see my screen okay, just to check that?
Yes, sir. All good here.
Awesome. Nope. Awesome. Thanks for setting it up, Adam. And thanks to everyone for joining. Today we're going to talk about something that's, I think is very important and that's very timely. It's not necessarily a new product feature. Like a lot of times we'll do an update like, hey, we got a new, processor or something like that. Today we're talking about a new opportunity. That's something that's come up on my radar, and I really want to share it with our partners because it won't naturally jump out at you right away. But the sooner that you act on this, I think the more successful that you'll be. Okay, so we're going to talk about that. Broadly speaking, it's LTE in our energy and water markets, with a special focus on AT&T's FirstNet network. I think I know everybody on the phone here, but I'm Andrew, the product manager for our wireless stuff. So, oops, I'll hit the next slide here, figure this out. Okay, so I want to break it down and really, this, I don't know if we have I think an hour set up for this, but we won't need that whole time, so stay with me. We're going to talk about what we're selling, why we're selling it, like why it's growing, what makes this opportunity unique, and then how we're selling it. Like, okay, who's the customer? What role does the carrier play? Where do I get the SIMs? Hint: you don't need to get the SIMs, and things like that. Okay, so by the end of this webinar, you'll be armed and dangerous to go after this opportunity. So first, this is my kind of my sales pitch here. If I was to tell you that there's an opportunity in some markets that you already serve, where the competition has no solution, and there's a $300 discount per device right now, you'd be interested, right? So that's kind of my pitch. Like there's a kind of a high level what's going on here. So okay, let's break down what we're selling. An ICR 3241. Okay, that's at the simplest level. We're selling kind of the heart of our value proposition is this LTE gateway that's certified both for Verizon and AT&T and T-Mobile and others, and Canada as well for our Canadian partners there. But also the fact that it's certified for a special network that AT&T operates. And for the guys joining from Canada, just this morning I was on a call with a Canadian systems integrator, I guess, who's doing a project for a water utility in New York that's going to use this technology. So it's still relevant for you, even though AT&T doesn't offer a FirstNet network in Canada. Okay, so I bet you that we've talked about FirstNet before. You probably heard of it. Essentially, it's after 9/11. We as a nation decided that, hey, we have to have a dedicated network for emergency first responders such that they can communicate in the event of a natural disaster or public safety event or whatever. And so that's why FirstNet was created. AT&T developed FirstNet. They won the bid for the spectrum, and they've developed this network core and the infrastructure for it. Essentially FirstNet, I've used this metaphor before to talk about the highway that's kind of the public LTE network, the service road that's this narrowband IoT and Cat-M, and then LoRaWAN, which runs on a unlicensed frequency adjacent to that. The key, and we support all these different network technologies. The key for our audience today is just understanding FirstNet is like a dedicated, it's like that dedicated carpool lane that you can only get in if you're a first responder, or, as we'll see a little bit later, if you're an electric or water utility. And that's really important for us, that electric and water utility portion, something we want to focus on today. So I stole some, or borrowed some slides from AT&T that are approved for distribution and everything. But this shows you, how AT&T presents this FirstNet solution. High availability, physically separate, in other words, dedicated, broad coverage around the different markets, and then a whole kind of support structure to deliver this value proposition. So AT&T is really, really heavily invested in FirstNet, and they're pushing it very aggressively into water and utility markets. I wanted to explain, I'll show you some milestones, and then I'll explain that comment I just made. So there's a ton of FirstNet connections out here. If you think about 1 million connections, that's 1 million police, fire, EMS, mostly today, okay? 10,000 public safety agencies, a bunch of markets, etc. Here's some just quantifying the presence of FirstNet. The reason that this is important for you as an Advantech channel partner is this. There's a combination of forces going on. One is that there are dozens, probably almost 100 dedicated FirstNet sellers. That means AT&T paid salespeople whose quota is dependent on FirstNet. Okay. Now there's already 10,000 public safety agencies signed up, 1 million connections. When they look at their 2021 quota numbers, they know, okay, I can't just keep selling. Like, I've talked to all the sheriff's departments in my area, all the EMS agencies, fire departments, whatever. I have to expand my reach, and they're expanding their reach into water and electric utilities. A little later on, I'll show you some examples of customers who have called us out of the blue, kind of called our online chat desk or whatever, and these are relatively small, but they've said, hey, look, we're a pump service integrator, and our customers coming to us saying they need FirstNet, and we've never heard of it, but we found you guys on the AT&T website. So that shows me that AT&T people are pushing this to, and it's making its way through the value chain. So I want our sales teams, specifically you all, to know about that and be ready to respond when you get those calls. Okay. Excuse me. Why are we? Oh, and I'm kind of already getting into this growth driver concept. So I said there's a combination of events. One is just the sales mandate from AT&T to their sellers to push this. The other one on the ground, kind of this bottom-up drive, is a lot of water utilities are replacing point-to-point radio systems with LTE, or they're replacing old 3G modems with LTE gateways. Okay, so that's like a really cool development that we can take advantage of. Now, you might say, well, okay, a lot of people can take advantage of that. We're not the only ones that have these kind of routers. Well, not so fast. So while AT&T is spending millions to promote this, and like a lot, we're FirstNet certified. E1 and Red Lion have no solution today. 2 calls in the last week with opportunities where somebody says, hey, we've been using Red Lion, but we need to use FirstNet. What do you have? That's really, really, really awesome. So that's kind of gets to that point of, hey, we have the field is ours. We can kind of mop up in this, admittedly focused area, but we can do, a lot of, make a lot of progress here. So I had to take my jacket off. I'm in this little recording studio here. So, okay, so who can use FirstNet? So this is an important thing because, hey, I thought it was just for fire, police, and ambulance. No, it's not. It's for anyone I'm listing utility applications here. I do think that some of our partners who are Wonderware or who are work with Aviva, Water, SCADA stuff, it's going to be a great fit too. But the point, and actually, let me take a screenshot here from. This is again from AT&T. So it's not just police, fire, EMS. It's construction, water, sewage, water, wastewater treatment, power distribution, gas distribution. So I know that these are applications that many of you serve today, and what we're saying now is that you can serve those applications, customers in those markets, with a really unique, very competitively priced solution too. And I'll get to that price advantage in a second. So when AT&T sellers look at their kind of eligibility rules, like, hey, FirstNet SIM card is a really cool thing to have. Can I get it, right? Can I sell it to my customers? The answer is yes, if they're in any of these what are called extended primary applications. Okay, so here's just another list kind of calling out areas that you can sell this into. Now, I know when we talk about, or I imagine when we talk about AT&T, some of you might think, well, okay, yeah, but I don't know anybody at AT&T. AT&T is just like a billboard that I drive by or something. It's a cell phone I use. It's not, I don't think of them as a business partner. That's okay. We know AT&T really well. And so, to the extent that you want to promote this, we can help do that with AT&T. Like if you say, hey, look, I'm calling on people in this part of Pennsylvania. Okay, cool. Let's patch you together with the AT&T account managers there and make sure they know about you and they're bringing you leads. So this can go both ways here. Okay, again, just a very simple visual for how to think about FirstNet. FirstNet uses AT&T's towers, okay? But after the tower, it uses a dedicated FirstNet core, okay? So that's just a cool capability that it's worth knowing about. This is one of the reasons people like AT&T, because it's the availability is higher, performance is better, and security is better. It's really easy to understand, why this is secure. So we've done this. We did kind of a major project that we did with Caltrans. Maybe you've heard us talk about this before. This used FirstNet for traffic cameras and variable messaging signs, right? So like if there's a forest fire in California, they want that variable messaging sign to be up all the time, right? So people know which evacuation route to go down, for example, okay? Or if there's an incident on the highway, they want those cameras to have and high speed. So this is the way we used it in traffic management in California. I'll show you a couple examples in the water space here specifically. When I'm explaining how we stack up against competitors to the FirstNet sellers at AT&T, and you can use this too, we're much bigger than the top 5 router vendor, the top 5 kind of competitors combined. Okay, so Advantech's actually a major player in this space. We've been kicking it, knocking it out of the park, let's say, in Europe, and now, as you know, we've come to the U.S. with these LTE solutions a couple of years ago, and are gaining momentum in the U.S. And we're really, really good at these extended primary applications. In other words, we're very, very competitive on the fleet side, like on a vehicle in a cop car, perfectly competitive there. But we have some unique advantages in the utility water space as well. Excuse me. So E1 and Red Lion are a couple competitors that I think probably a lot of our channel partners are used to seeing. E1, they're both, well, first of all, they're both more expensive to begin with. These aren't always super price sensitive projects, but that's worth knowing that we're price competitive. They don't have a FirstNet solution. Okay, so that kind of rules them out right away. And oh, by the way, even if it's not a FirstNet solution, like this customer I talked with actually this morning was replacing Red Lion because the water customer, municipal water customer, wanted to have Verizon and AT&T or Verizon and some other network backing up their lift stations. So they had to have that dual SIM capability, right? Which neither E1 or Red Lion supports. So I don't think it's a stretch to say we really we're just positioned very, very well to win here. Okay. When you're talking to public agencies about this, it's it's nice to. Sometimes I think people can look at Advantech and think, it's just a big, Taiwanese PC company. What's, I want made in the USA, or I whatever. They want to feel good about buying from a company that they know is with them and going to support them and so forth. So these routers are all built in Europe, okay, by highly skilled engineers in the Czech Republic, which, by the way, is a NATO member. People want to know that. Not on these banned component vendor lists, okay, so no impact there. Tons of U.S. support and presence, and major FirstNet wins already. So this isn't like, you know, a sparkle in our eye. This is something we're actually doing today with a fair bit of success. Okay, so I mentioned earlier that this $300 bill credit, this is super, super cool because Advantech's not paying it and you're not paying it. AT&T is crediting customers for these. So if you've got a customer who's, let's say they've got old 3G modems out there or 900 megahertz point-to-point radios, and they say, look, we want to put in an LTE modem. We want to get straight on the IP network and do this. For every unit that they buy, AT&T credits them back on their bill $300. This is going from now until April 1st to just like this. This is a limited time thing. They may extend it, they may not. But I think it's cool, right? It's a call to action for you to go out and say, let's do this. For the partners in Canada, I'm certainly willing to look at how we can do something creative to promote this with you guys. If you can, basically, if you're an Advantech channel partner and you can create a list or some kind of segmentation of your customer base of people who might be interested in this, let's figure out how to co-promote that. Okay, we're going to provide a couple examples here of engagements, and I'm going at a pretty good clip through this. So, and it's fairly, you know, the content that I want to share today is pretty short. So I do think we don't have more than, I don't know, 10, 15 minutes. So pay attention because I think some of this stuff is maybe the most important. I'll do two examples of customers that we've helped with FirstNet. These are two water customers that we've helped with FirstNet solutions so far. And then again, this is the last month and a half, let's say. So there's a company in New Jersey that does water, wastewater, pumping, and like aeration type things. So just, you know, SCADA stuff, okay, for water utilities. They have a municipal water customer. Today they're using 900 megahertz radios and some old 3G, some old Red Lion modems today. And here, just as an example, you know, you guys have, if you're in the business, you recognize this stuff all the time. But here's what you can see when you drive by a pump station, right? Cabinet, little red light on top that sends, you know, basically as a warning if something's going wrong in a flood, let's say. And then a lot of times you'll see an antenna sticking out of here, like a Yagi directional antenna sticking out of those. Today, this customer is connecting to PLC and HMI equipment at remote pump stations, all right, lift stations. So when PCS's customer, right, this municipal water district, when they came to PCS, they already knew they wanted FirstNet, okay? AT&T is, because AT&T had sold them on it, all right? So AT&T is providing the SIMs, all right? PCS pump comes to Advantech, and they'll come, this customer profile will come to you, right, and say, hey, our customer is asking for FirstNet. Okay, cool. Here's the product. AT&T will source the SIMs, and the customer will have, you know, a stack of SIMs. The customer will go into the AT&T portal and activate those SIMs before installing. Obviously, you or your customers can move up and down that food chain, I guess, and do the activation yourself. We have customers who are AT&T FirstNet resale partners who are doing the SIM activation today, and that's perfectly fine. I'm saying that so if it's daunting, if the idea of doing SIM activation is daunting, don't worry about it. You don't have to do that. So basically at these lift stations, there's a PLC. This is oversimplified, but for the sake of, you know, explaining it, there's a PLC with an Ethernet connection to the ICR 3241, which makes an LTE connection. There's a, you know, FirstNet SIM in there. and that provides that link between FirstNet up to the SCADA software. Okay, so pretty straightforward. I bet you that you have many customers who meet this kind of basic profile. And yeah, I think, let me share one more from a different neck of the woods here over in the Pacific Northwest. So Industrial Systems is also an integrator. Their customer is a rural water district, so not necessarily a municipality that's sending bills to end customers, but a district that's responsible for kind of water supply management, okay? They're using super low frequency, long range radios, also connecting to PLCs. In this case, it's at some mountain, like some springs and some reservoirs, and so they're managing like the water supply, okay? Same exact scenario though. They came to us and said, hey, we need a FirstNet network appliance for this. Okay, well, how'd you hear about FirstNet? Well, our customer asked for it, which means that AT&T had pushed this, on the customer, or promoted it to the customer. So just like with PCS, Industrial Systems is selling their monitoring, SCADA solution and the Advantech gateway, and the AT&T team is providing the SIM. So super cool to see this develop. And I think it provides a pretty cool tie-in to what you as our channel partners are already uniquely positioned to win. This is just a great dynamic that you can kind of parlay into these opportunities. Okay, so what does a typical quote look like? I mean, I'm just going to share like part numbers and pricing, so you can, and obviously you can work this out with your channel managers. But as far as what the details are, but typically, right, there's a gateway, either with Wi-Fi and GPS or just the Ethernet and serial connections. You see the two ICR part numbers there. Obviously, your quoting is whatever you're quoting. The AT&T credit on the back end is just icing on the cake. On the antenna side, you would either use you need two LTE antenna elements per router or per gateway. So you can either have two of those direct mount antennas, if it's in like a polycarbonate enclosure, or if it's just on a panel at a bigger pump station or something. More frequently, you would have an external kind of a cabinet mount, and you see the two antenna element leads coming out of that little dome style antenna. So those are products that we have today, stocked, ready to go. This, maybe it doesn't go without saying, so I'll just say it. These are all production devices in stock, shipping, ready to go today. Not a futuristic thing at all. Okay, so we'll talk about that. All right, so let me summarize then. So AT&T pushing FirstNet really hard, even to small local water municipalities. I mean, really pushing down. Growth dynamics around changing over from 900 megahertz radios and 3G radios to LTE. Okay, $300 credit per device. No additional services that you need to perform. And then maybe the other thing is just if you don't know anyone at AT&T, or if you're like, I don't know where to get started with AT&T, talk to me, talk to Nathan, your channel managers. We can grease those skids and make those connections so that you're totally ready to respond when these requests start to come through. So let me, Adam, I'll pause there, and I don't know if people should chat in questions or.
Yeah, I don't see any questions over in the chat option. So if there are any questions, guys, use that chat option over there, okay? There is a question here for you, Andrew.
Oh, I better look at the chat window, I guess. Oh, hey, Red.
Any plans for HPUE?
I took out the HPUE slide. I wasn't sure if we would have interest in that. Good. So HPUE stands for, no, I'll just explain it. So HPUE stands for High Power User Equipment. FirstNet is available in a lot of areas, but there are some areas where it's kind of a stretch to get it. And so HPU, or where it's the literally kind of a stretch for the network to go everywhere it needs to go. So HPUE is a technology that we, yes, we support it today. We're planning to plumb it more and more kind of integrated into the solution. HPUE is basically an antenna with a SIM on steroids that provides super broad, much better coverage in areas that might not have the best FirstNet coverage. So yes, we do support it today, and we'll continue to do that.
Okay, great. See if there's any other questions slowly trickling in here. I don't see any other questions coming, so we can probably wrap this up, Andrew.
Sure, yeah. Well, I appreciate everybody joining. It's good. We're looking forward to seeing some more wins and supporting you in this.
Awesome. I appreciate it, Andrew.
Thanks, Adam.
Okay, guys. Take it easy.